So a lot of you may not know this, but I'm not a big fan of electric vehicles yet. I feel that there's still a long ways to go, and I've had a lot of trouble finding a car that I think is perfectly fit. Now, we've tested some electric vehicles over the past years, and a lot of them have come really close, but I think this time there might be the one that I really like, and that one is this car. This is the Mercedes-Benz EQE. And I absolutely love this car. This is basically like the EQS but in an SUV format. I mean, they do make an EQS SUV as well, but that's not available here yet. The EQE comes really close in terms of performance, in terms of comfort, and in terms of features. So what I really like is the front end on this. It's much more muscular than what we saw with the EQC, although it's a similar design, and you do have this pattern, which is their star pattern or tri-star pattern in the front. This also houses all your radar and sensing equipment, and then you do have the front camera over there as well. But these headlights, this current lighting situation is not doing these headlights justice, but if you look at them at night, they look absolutely brilliant. And of course you do have a matrix sort of design, but these are fully digital LED lights, as you would expect from a car of this category, of this value. Now we'll have the prices of the car in the description below if you guys are interested. There are some offers that you can pick up, especially at this moment. And these wheels are 20-inch alloy wheels, and they're specifically designed for electric cars, so you'll see that they're more aerodynamic. Almost sit flat with the vehicle to give you better aerodynamics in this car. So this is the key. This is what you've seen with the previous electric Mercedes-Benz cars as well, and like this is the new format of the key anyway. So you have your lock button, unlock button, and pop the trunk from here. I would have liked to see some other features like move the car forward, move the car back. You get those in lots of cars, even much cheaper cars nowadays. So that would have been nice to see. But if you unlock the car, you can see that your mirrors open up and your handles pop out. These look exceptional, especially at night, because they are illuminated so that they look brilliant at night. And you do have these side steps here as well. And then we continue the walk over here. You can see your charging port. So if you're doing a full fast charge, it supports 170 kilowatts of charging. And the battery in itself is a 90 kilowatt hour battery. So we'll leave that for now. On the back you can see the light bar that looks great, and then you also have these digital LED lights, and you of course have the light bar that looks brilliant, and a very iconic shape, more rounded off for a better coefficient of drag. Pop the tailgate from here and you can see a narrow spare in there. So that is something that you have to be worried about. If you do want a spare, you will have to eat into the trunk space, which in itself is not the greatest. It's also fairly tiny for trunk space, but it's very spacious on the seats. So you win some and you lose some. That you can close up if that's what you're looking for. And then of course you can use the key to close this up as well. Very smooth, very nice. You can hear the motors, they're expensive. Here's the back seat. The back seat is actually quite spacious, and this is my seating position. Okay, so I'm sitting behind me and you can see that there's a lot of space here, and even if I turn the camera around, you can see that there's a lot of headroom. I'm 6'2", and sitting behind me in this vehicle, it's a large SUV of course, so all of that is managed quite well. You do have a really nice interior in this with these perforated seats. Now all of this is vegan leather of course, and then you do have Burmester sound system, which I'm sure will give you better shots of that. And then you do have climate control specifically for the rear seat over here as well. So that looks nice. And then you have a central armrest with cup holders, which you can see can hold bottles nicely as well if you have narrow bottles. And then there is a slot for slim things, maybe a slimmer mobile phone. Key definitely will not fit in there because it's fairly chunky, but if you have like a thin phone, that should go in here no problem. And you can see the interior looks really nice, whether it's from the back or the front. And we'll quickly pop this sunroof open for you guys to check out as well. So we'll look at that, and overall very comfortable place to be in, whether you're in the front seat or the rear seat. But let's quickly move on to the front seat and I'll show you that. You can see the controls over here, typical Mercedes fashion for seat controls. You do have memory for 3 seats, and you do have seat ventilation, which is absolutely fantastic. I give that a thumbs up, definitely. The memory function is for 3 people. You can set that up over here, and that also controls some of the infotainment features. So the interior is one of the best places to be in for the EQE. You can see the start button is over here. When you turn the car on, your car basically comes to life. You've got this really nice, almost spaceship like sound. The aircon comes on because it is starting to get rather warm now, but you can see all the climate information is over here, including the air purifier, which of course if you don't want fresh air, which is really not fresh anymore, you can turn on recirculation. And then this whole thing basically controls your vehicle. You've got your maps over here, but you do have all your comfort settings for the car in here as well. And certain things, if you want to drive in Delhi, you do want to turn off these things because they can get annoying, but you can turn them off. So all those things that are constantly pinging at you are turned off. But the screen is nice and large over here, and then if you do have a passenger, they can turn on their screen as well. We'll show you that in just a second. So this is the main digital cluster behind the steering wheel, which is really nice, wrapped in again this leather finish. Got really nice color over here. But the digital cluster over here can of course be customized, and you can choose between all of these options over here. So if you want any of these, if you want an understated, a sport, so if you go into sport, you get all of your sort of sport structure, but it also corresponds with the theme of the car. So if you go into here, if you go back into home, and if you go into understated, it also changes the theme of the main screen. So it also puts that in an understated mode, which is absolutely brilliant. And then you can come into this if you're doing off-roading for some reason in your EQE. You do have a fully capable off-road mode here, which gives you not only a compass but also your tilt angle as well as your approach angle. So all of that is really nice. And of course your battery percentage, your speedometer remains, which is great. Now in typical Mercedes fashion, you can switch up the aircon. So let me quickly turn that on to show you. So if I increase the temperature, you can see that the red light goes across, and if I decrease the temperature, it gives you a blue light. So it also indicates that the temperature across the cabin is moving out. So you can swipe up, and then that opens this massive sunroof, which goes all the way to the back, which is nice. And then you do have the ability to sort of open the front half also. So you can open this up, and this also goes back. So if you do want some sun in your life, which you should, you can open this up. I don't want it right now, but you should. And over here then is a nice push button. You have your sort of document glove box, so to speak. And then again, Burmester sound. You do have ventilated heated seats for both the passenger as well as the driver, and memory for the passenger as well, which is great. I really like the dual tone finish of the cabin, which looks and feels absolutely amazing. So what are your thoughts on the interior of the EQE? Let me know in the comments below, and let's go into the drive and let's talk about some of the specifications. So driving the EQE, I have to say that for a person of my size and my height, this car is actually one of the best electric cars that I've driven. Not only is it spacious, to the point where even when I'm sitting, I have to really pull up my seat a little bit. I have to raise the height a little bit just to get the perfect driving position. That means that a person even taller than me and I'm 6'2", just to remind you guys, can easily sit in the seat, drive the car, be very comfortable, which is not the case with a lot of these new electric vehicles, because in an effort to make them more aerodynamic, they are narrower, not only for the approach from the door, but also on the inside, even the SUVs. So in that aspect, this is very comfortable. Another thing that you'll notice is that this car is extremely quiet, and that is because that you don't hear anything from the outside at all. The interior is extremely well dampened. The materials, the fit and finish of the interior is extremely premium. I would say to the levels of Maybach premium is what you're getting in this car. And of course, you're paying for that as well, because the pricing is extremely premium as well. But this is also a very comfortable ride, because most electric cars have really stiff suspensions just to counteract the weight of the batteries. But this car is comfortable even if you're going over these big bumps on the road. You don't really feel them, but you do tend to clench up a little bit because you might hit the underside of the car, because this does sit a little low in comparison to typical SUVs. In terms of driving performance numbers, you get 400 horsepower or equivalent horsepower, because what you're getting is electronic power, but around 400 horsepower. And as far as torque is concerned, you have 858 Newton meters of torque, which is ridiculous amounts of torque available to you at all times. The 0 to 100 figure on this is 4.9 seconds, which for an SUV of this size and this weight is incredible. Now with the 90 kilowatt hour battery, you're also getting a pretty incredible range on this car. Not only do you get 170 kilowatt of fast charging, which is also impressive, and if you do want it, Mercedes will come and install a charger at home. In most cases it will be 10 kilowatt, but you can get up to a 15 kilowatt charger with this car. If you do have access to that electric supply, then you can charge this car at home. It will charge overnight, but if you do have access to a fast charger, DC fast charger, you can do 170 kilowatts. And on a full charge, the rated range is about 550 kilometers. But that will decrease significantly if you're going on a straight stretch, maybe a highway. That will decrease significantly. So you can expect about 450 on highway travel. But if you're in the city, you can expect close to 500. And it was pretty close in terms of the EQS when they said 800 kilometers. This is 550 rated, so you should get a pretty good range on this as well. The good thing about electric cars is that you do have torque available when you need it. So if you're in traffic, if you're overtaking, you can simply press the accelerator and just go, because that speed and that power is available to you at all times. And then what Mercedes has done is allow you to hear that motor go. So when you tap, you do hear audible feedback, which sort of sounds like a grunt of an engine, but it's actually your motors, or actually not even your motors, it's just sound that allows you to know that you're going fast. Gives you a little bit of a reality check, but also a feeling of speed, which is good to have. So another thing that you really love about the EQE or any Mercedes of this class is, of course, the infotainment. You have access to everything. This car has ventilated seats, which, like you would have heard, that I absolutely love. But this car also has massaging seats. You have several levels of massages, and you have seat kinetics as well, so it keeps you activated if you're on a long drive. And you have heated seats as well, so in the winter that's great. So all of those functions are there. You also have a full 360-degree camera. You have lots of parking functions. You have lots of safety features that are built in. So this car has one of the best heads-up displays as well. So you can see how clear the heads-up display is. Not only do you get the speed information, but you also get the navigation over here. And also, it doesn't interfere with driving at all. So the minute you look away, you don't really notice it. But the minute you're looking at it, you can see all the information, including when to turn, where to go, what's next. Pretty cool. The overall driving experience is absolutely phenomenal. You get all those safety features, you get all your assistance features for driving as well. So for a person who's getting into it, he will really enjoy having those assistance features, which I think can be really helpful. But coming to the crux of the matter, electric cars, I feel, while they're getting there very quickly, they're not there yet. There are lots of issues with electric cars, whether it's the charging infrastructure or the lack thereof. Even though it's improving on a day-to-day basis, I feel it's still not there to the point where it makes it convenient for you to own an electric vehicle, unless all you're doing is city driving, maybe 100 kilometers in total a day. It's great. If you want to do long travel, then it might not be the best solution. And there are lots of issues in terms of the technology, in terms of teething issues with motors, electronics, all those kind of things. But if you were in the market today and you had the money, then this would be my recommendation for an electric vehicle, because not only does it give you that engineering and class of vehicle that you get from a brand like Mercedes, but you get really good technology, and they've tested this over the years in their electric cars, and things have worked out great for them. And this car, not only is this properly electric, it gives you that power, it gives you that torque, but it also gives you the comfort. So you have a combination of both the things. You're not compromising on one for the other, and that is why I feel that this is an excellent car. Although it's not affordable for everyone, in fact, it's affordable for only a few, and those people will really enjoy this car if they're in the market for an electric car. So what are your thoughts on electric vehicles in general? Are you buying one? Do you own one? What are your thoughts if you're using it every day? And what do you think of the EQE? Let us know in the comments below. And what vehicle or what EV should we test next? Let us know that. And this has been Bharat. If you enjoyed the video, smash like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one while I weave through this traffic.